Okay, so we got some pretty crazy stuff going on here with AOC. So AOC actually just went live last night for a long time. She's being very transparent. She was live for like an hour, it appears. And so she was just talking about all the stuff that's going on with Biden and Kamala and everything. So everything seems to kind of be on its side right now because somehow the people who are opposing Biden the most are actually the corporate Democrats, and then the progressives are actually supporting Biden. Now, in terms of why that would be the case, I don't think anybody at this point really cares about their personal politics, as in, hey, I want to take like the presidential candidate to be as progressive as possible. Although I think their calculation may be, hey, in exchange for us supporting you, Biden, you have to do stuff that we like. Like, you have to adopt some of our stuff on the agenda, is what it appears like. So I think that their calculation just might be that Biden is the best chance to win, or them supporting Biden gives them the best chance to be able to push progressive legislation. At this point, it's not about who do I align with more. So the world is on its side because they completely flipped areas where it's like, what? But I think we're also subconsciously kind of thinking that, oh, well, the person that replaces Biden is surely going to be more progressive than Biden, which is not necessarily the case. But we just have some clips from AOC here we're going to look at. So here she's going to reveal some pretty interesting information that we don't actually have right now, which is that I think we're kind of taking for granted the idea that the elites or whoever, Democrats, Pelosi, and those people behind the scenes that are against Biden or they want to pull Biden out, people are acting as if Kamala is the de facto decision. Kamala is going to be the decision, and she's going to be here to actually say, like, no, there's not actually a clear consensus that, hey, remove Biden and then place in Kamala. It's more so the first part, but the second part is not a gimme. So go ahead and check it out.
And I'm going to say what a lot of these folks aren't saying. I'm just going to say it. If you think that there is consensus among the people who want Joe Biden to leave, that they will support Kamala, Vice President Harris, you would be mistaken. And I'm going to say that because if they're going to come out and say all their little things on background off the record, but they're not going to be fully honest, I'm going to be honest for them. I'm in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. A lot of them are not just interested in removing the president. They are interested in removing the whole ticket.
So I think more than anything else, this being brought to us is really good transparency. I think she's being really transparent, which is going to go into a second clip that we look at when I talk about it. But this is really important information here because it seems like most people are actually saying, hey, Biden's going to drop and then Kamala's going to be next. So just in terms of people making rational decisions in terms of who they support is really important because otherwise I think a lot of people are going to end up, they're going to be like, yeah, take Biden out thinking like, yo, we finna replace him with Kamala. And then she's like, no, that's not actually what's finna happen. And I know there was a report, I think Clyburn said that he would, I don't even know if that was a report, if that was just like public, I can't remember, but that he would support a primary. And I think AOC is probably right. My inkling is that like, I don't think a lot of the party really messes with Kamala, to be honest. Like in this scenario, I don't know why. There doesn't seem to be like a big movement to prop her up within the party. It seems like a lot of progressives are pushing that. I don't really see too much of even from what I'm seeing on Twitter, the K-hivers who were really toxic in 2020, they're actually still supporting Biden. They're not even supporting her. And then I don't see too many centrists supporting her either. You'll just see like people like Mike Figueredo like going crazy for Kamala Harris on Twitter, like, oh, I'm a K-hiver and everything. And it's just like, okay, dude, what's going on here? So everything is just on its head. But this is good information. I actually think she's probably, well, I think she's right in what she's saying, but I think what she's saying is probably also going to bear fruit in that I don't think it's going to be like a pick Kamala moment. I think it's going to be a primary. But I think that a primary, I think it might be kind of dangerous in terms of like, oh shoot, like what are the rules going to be? But I think a primary is probably the best. I think in general, like we should say, let the best people compete. Whoever wins goes on to do it. Because I think we lost that, right, without having the primary, and then the kind of weird primary we had last time, where it was like the person just had default support, and then everyone coalesced around him. It's kind of like almost like a fake primary, but There was completely no primary this time around, right? And competition, we need more of it. I think there's too much in the Democratic Party of just hand-picking person waiting in line for their spot. I think it's leading to a lot of lack of meritocracy, and I can't think of any really skilled politicians in the Democratic Party. You know, I know some people might say, like, some of the people in the swing states were Democrats, whether it be like Shapiro or Pritzker or whoever, right? And so it just kind of comes down to, I think we need that meritocracy back. But this is really important information. I'm personally leaning towards a primary. I don't want Kamala Harris. I think she'll be a complete disaster. I think her polling is like she maybe has 1 or 2 points max on Biden, and I think that might even be converted, assuming that those are young people that are supporting her. I'm a believer in the convergence theorem. I made it up. So the convergence theorem says that as we get closer and closer to the election, like the support of young people will start to converge towards Biden against Trump. Right now, it's easy because we're in fucking July, almost in August, right? It's like 4 months away, dude. Like there's gonna be a lot of people who die between now and the election, right? It's a long time out. So a lot of young people will be like, fuck Biden or whatever. But it's gonna start to converge as time goes on. So assuming those are like young people, those people might just converge to whatever she has right now, anyways. And that a lot of people are saying, oh, well, that's her floor. How do you know that? It could be her ceiling. That could be the supremum, dude. Like, or I guess the infimum. But like this could be really bad for her in terms of she goes out there and starts. If the election becomes about her, she has horrible, political instincts. I don't think people remember 2020. But so basically what we're talking about here is she could go out there and her numbers go down. That's what I think is going to happen. I think her numbers drop. I think she's horrible on everything. I don't think she's good at anything as a politician. I think people like her and Hillary are really good at kind of like the backroom type of stuff. They're not good at electoral politics, and people don't remember how insufferable she was. But also, check out this second clip here. AOC is going to talk about how people are like behind the scenes, shadow. They're in the shadows, like kind of controlling stuff. So go ahead and check this out. Her calling Democrats out.
There have been lots of Democrats who have been giving little anonymous quotes to the press, to some journalists, to print. And I'm not here to knock the press on it. I'm here to knock my colleagues on it. Because to me, I think that's, and I'm sorry I'm going to say it because it's after midnight, that's bullshit. Like, if you have an opinion, say it with your chest and say it in public. But the idea that you are an elected official and you are supposed to be responsible for a community and you're just going to like text some journalist on the low and say, this is what I think, but don't put my name next to it. What are you here to do? If that's your opinion and if that's what you think is best for the country, put your name on.
Yeah, so that was pretty interesting. So she's really going off on these people. And so there is a lot of this going on. In fact, I just saw like a pretty serious like ABC anchor or something. I'm forgetting his name right now. But he actually reported that Biden is actually really fucking pissed. He's really mad. He's like, bro, I got COVID and now the ground is shaking underneath me. Like it's being pulled away from me as I'm in hiding. Kind of like Goku in the fucking hyperbaric chamber, like when Vegeta and them were all fighting, like the Ginyu Force and everything. You just gotta hold out, bro. It's the opposite. They're like turning on him, dude. But anyways, so it's pretty interesting though. But I think the caveat here is that, they should be transparent, but you kind of have to balance that sort of act of how do you approach the situation where a lot of, being a politician or whatever is crisis management, public PR management and stuff like that. And so if the politicians are viewing themselves as like, shoot, if I kind of come out and do this, it's going to harm the party and that kind of stuff. I think a lot of people would justify those kinds of maneuvers as being sort of empirical or logical in that way, or at the very least sort of gaining some kind of goal that they're after. So I think that's probably kind of where it is, but I think her stance here is she's trying to stand out as the transparent person, which I give her a lot of credit for because that is helpful. She is being very transparent here. And obviously, that piece of information alone, just that piece of information alone, that, hey, Kamala is not the gimme, like she's not the guaranteed person. I think that's really helpful information because I think it informs the decision making of the people. But the other caveat, the important caveat of the whole hey, you're in the shadows, F you type of stuff. 2/3 of the party, I think, something crazy wants him to resign, wants him not to be the nominee. So if they have to find a sort of sus way to do it, but they're still supporting the interests of the people, like if 2/3 of the people want Biden to drop, and then they have to publicly say, hey, were behind Biden, but behind closed doors they're fighting for, Biden to drop. That's still working for your elected constituent, or not elected constituency, but your constituency that you were elected for, right? You're working for them, but you're like, yo, I gotta kind of keep this shit up in public because we gotta keep the party together. We gotta beat Trump. Those kind of logistical, and you're always gonna run into stuff like that as a politician. That's just the name of the game, part of the game. And public crisis management, public mentality management, all that stuff is super important as a politician. So they're still fighting for what they want, right? So I think that that's sort of the caveat there. But I do appreciate her transparency. And so I think what's probably going to end up happening is we're probably going to end up having a primary, which I support. I'm scared of the unknown, but I think the best possible way to tackle the unknown is let's fight. All you motherfuckers, fight and show us who's the best. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see any hand picking. I don't want to see any, because that's not meritocratic. It's very, unless you want to make the argument that, hey, Kamala was chosen as VP for that reason, but I don't think anybody thinks that Kamala was chosen for that reason. That would be the problem, I think. I don't think Kamala was chosen because, hey, she'd be a really good replacement. I think she was just chosen because there's a really good balance with Biden being the old white guy. It's like, hey, let me get like this, mixed, woman, right? That's like a kind of balancer. Typically, your vice president is supposed to balance you out. It's not supposed to be, hey, like you already have one slice of white bread and then you have another white bread. Usually it's supposed to be like, yo, I'm bread, you're chicken or something, or maybe spinach or whatever. Although bread and spinach, I mean, that's fire. But anyways, yeah, the point being, like, that's typically what's supposed to happen. So I don't think she was chosen. It's like, oh man, she's a great replacement. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens, but let me know what your guys' thoughts is down below.